pray, Lord, for the city councilman here, Lord. Pray for their wisdom, Lord. Pray that you watch over them. I pray, Lord, for the mayor, Lord, and all his people that work there at the office. I pray, Lord, for the city of Montgomery, Lord. I pray, Lord, for peace over this city, Lord. I pray, Lord, that you watch over us, Lord. Let us be a beacon, Lord, that the rest of the nation and the world can look at, Lord. Dear God, I thank you for this and all those blessings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please rise for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, I need a motion on the work session minutes of August the 1st.
Move to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 1 abstention.
Need a motion on the regular council minutes for the August 1st.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
5 with 1 abstention.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mayor, you're up.
Thank you so much. Given the fact that we have our first official act after the budget has been submitted to have a public hearing tonight, we did not prepare any presentations, and the mayor's message would be very brief. We wanted to give as much time as possible for citizens to comment on the budget so that you can have all the information available as we begin to roll up our sleeves in a couple of weeks to get to, at the end of the day, a $242,203,000 budget that can move our city forward so that we can continue to move in a direction that we all want to move in. So with that, I'll pass it back to you for the council business.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, our first item on the, well, we have 3 people signed up for public communication items. I'll call on them at the particular time that they signed up for that particular number. Our first item is on the agenda, and we need a vote on this. Gentlemen, you heard from the planning department what to do, so I need a motion to uphold this.
Mr. President, I need to read it first.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I do get in a hurry, don't I?
Yeah, you want to go vote.
I've already voted. Go ahead and read it, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, item 1, pursuant to section 1153B1, Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 1606 Hill Street.
Do you have a motion, gentlemen?
Move to uphold.
I need a motion. A motion to uphold. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay. Madam Clerk, what we got next?
Item 2, ordinance amending Chapter 7, cemeteries.
Okay. Mr. Larkin?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to move to adopt.
Hold it.
I'm sorry.
Come to the microphone, KT, if you want. I can't hear you.
Let me hear that you hear me. What is the list that we signed saying that we want to speak on some of these items?
This is it
that are on
right
the-
here, and I was about to let you speak.
Beg pardon?
I was about to let you speak right now. The item's up, and I was about
But
to
we
let you-
will speak.
Yeah, you will. Okay. Okay, I got a motion on the floor. Now I need a speaker. KT, you came to speak on that item. Come back.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, item 2, 5, and 6, I'm saying the same thing. We out here in the audience, when you vote on these items, we don't really know what you're voting on because we don't understand what it is that we haven't looked at or read or you have explained to us. When you go into item 2 and you're talking about amending chapter 7 and these different sections, we would like to know what these sections are. Remember now, we are the voters. Notice, I voted. I voted for you.
Congratulations.
When you come together as a city council, you let us, the citizen, understand what it is that you're doing. We need to know. We have to live by it. Then when you get to, you want me to hold off on number 7?
Yeah, please. Wait till we get there. Okay.
Okay, that was for number 2, number 5, and number 6. When you get to them, we would like to know what the amendment is for number 6. We would like to know what that is for number 5, and we would like to know what you're doing to the cemeteries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Larkin, would you answer that question, please?
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to. This item, number 2, amending Chapter 7, having to do with cemeteries. Most of our audience will recall that the council voted a while back to create a Montgomery Cemetery Rehabilitation Authority. And this Rehabilitation Authority grew out of concerns for abandoned and neglected cemeteries. It started as the Lincoln Cemetery Rehabilitation Authority and was later expanded to include other cemeteries in the city, and the name of it was changed to the Montgomery the Montgomery Cemetery Rehabilitation Authority. And at that time, we also adopted with that ordinance the adoption of a burial permit fee that was to be assessed to each burial in a compliant cemetery in the city of Montgomery. And that $125 burial fee was to be used for the keeping of records, an accurate record of all deaths and burials which occur in the city. And there was some confusion and some misinformation as to whether the burial fee could also be applied to maintaining or abating those cemeteries that were neglected and abandoned. And so the purpose in amending Section C of this ordinance dealing with cemeteries was to make clear the fact that this fee was also to be used for maintaining abandoned and neglected cemeteries in the city, such as Lincoln, such as Westcott, such as Remount, and there are a number of others as well. So that the reason for the amendment was for clarification in the purpose of the burial permit fee.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Does that answer the question, Ms.?
Is there any way I can get a copy of that?
We can give it to you.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely, you
Yeah,
can.
that's it. Okay. Need a motion to...
Can I just ask a quick
Yeah,
question,
yeah.
since we've had a couple of these? Which one's actually before us as we speak?
As we speak, the very first ordinance that was presented is on the table.
Yes. And a motion has been made to adopt.
Motion made to adopt. All in favor of the adopt?
Well, you've got to have a motion to
And then we have
substitute.
a motion to substitute.
Hold it.
No.
Motion to adopt and a motion to substitute.
The
Voting on
one that
motion.
was presented during work session.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to substitute. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Now voting on the main motion
To adopt.
to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. The
Okay.
ordinance is adopted as substituted. Item 3, public hearing on proposed ordinance amending FY 2017 and adopting FY 2018 operating and debt service budget.
Okay, on item number 3, I have one person. This is a public hearing. I'd like to call on Linda Jackson to speak on that item. Ms. Jackson?
Mr. President, how do you want me to time these?
3 minutes,
Okay.
normal 3 minutes. Yes, sir, Ms. Jackson?
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm here, I have talked to Todd earlier today.
Okay.
We was talking about it. The budget that you have for $150,000.
Right.
I would like for us to come to agreement with volunteering. We as parents, retired school teachers or teachers are interested in our children, because the way that it appeared on TV is like you trying to make business come into the come to the area, and you're not really caring anything about our children, the way that it came across.
Okay, well-
But I have talked to Todd, but he made
It's
it.
all about the children, I'll assure you, okay?
I volunteer at Vaughn Road Elementary School every day. I go there, I do that because I am a concerned parent. I have 3 kids, 32, 26, and a 9-year-old. I'm here because we got magnet schools. We have smart kids in regular school. We don't have funding for it. We taking money away from our children. And in our city school, I understand what a city school would do, but what it gonna do to, that's 3 years down the road. What we gonna do right now about our children? Our children need help right now. Our kids are in need now. Our kids, we are dealing with so many issues at the school, and we don't have money for it.
May I interject here? The reality of it is, the intervention's been placed, okay? And we hope that is successful, because we feel like that will help the children, okay? And if that doesn't help the children, the mayor wants to leave his options open for other options to try to help the children.
Okay, this is what you're not getting what I'm saying, or maybe I'm nervous and I might not be coming across. I'm saying that it's a beef and it's a division in the city when it comes to public school and magnet school. We put more emphasis on our magnet school kids. We don't have the same funding as magnet school have.
But let me address that to you. We don't do the budget for the school system.
I understand that.
We have nothing to do with that.
But
all we're saying is, if the school system doesn't get their act together and fix the thing for the children, we want to look at an alternative.
I understand that, but let's work together. Let us start working together and building. I'm talking about we can build it at the city council, and that's why I'm here. I want us to work together, not division. It's already division between magnet and regular school.
That's your Montgomery public school system is done that way. And the only way that can ever be changed is the Board of Education does that. City Council has no input on that at all.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, since the state is involved right now,
right.
The state is involved. And since the state is involved, let us come together and work together. The state board, the education board, all of us come together and work together, and the parents and everybody and the whole state get on one page, not this, and this. It's too many division and too many lines you have to cross to get to something.
I can assure you the mayor and most people I know are sitting right there behind the school system trying to change it, trying to make it better, okay?
Can I ask a
even
question?
Even though the television may project other things, because they project other issues, okay? But the reality, bottom line is, everybody in this city that's elected I know of are working to make a better school system, period, okay?
May I ask you a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Bell.
You said something about $50,000 budget. So, are you talking about? That's the consultant. You're talking about a consultant fee.
Yes.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were saying that the $150,000 can be used to help the student.
Yes, and I'm saying instead of us using that money, we can use retired school teachers, people that really have a heart for the kids. And I mean, you'll be surprised at how many people will really help and come and volunteer to help that process.
If I may.
I got you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Jackson, and we had a very good conversation. The $150,000 is really for legal expertise, because what we will be trying to do if we continue to go down the road has never been done before. And there are some very intricate legal issues you have to deal with if you're going to create a separate school system, a city school system. Because when you do that, there are 3 schools that will be outside of the city limits. And so under the regular way of doing it, you just create the system and you wouldn't even worry about those 3 schools outside of the city limits. that's not going to be what we want to do. We want to create some kind of integrated system. And so we've already met with some attorneys, and they don't know how to do it. And so we're going to have to figure out, and we're going to have to use those monies, not with the parents, but with legal expertise to go figure out how we can accommodate that with the state board, with the local board, with the city council, and the county commission. So those are funds that the $150,000 would be used for.
Okay, and this another question. I have lived in a different state where they had, when I lived in St. Louis, Missouri, they had state school. It was a mess. You know, and I just don't want that to happen this year. I'm fighting for my 9-year-old daughter. Sunshine, stand up. I'm fighting for that. Stand up, Sunshine. That's who I'm fighting for right there.
That's exactly why we're trying to do what we're trying to do.
We are too.
So,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you now.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
you know I don't like putting you on the spot.
Yes, you do.
And Ms. Jackson talking about the $150,000. Since that is in the budget, would it be appropriate for this council to pass a resolution saying that all 9 members or however many support a city school system?
At some appropriate time, it sure would, because it's not going to be an easy journey. It's not going to be uncontroversial journey.
No, I understand.
And the more support we've got, the better off we are.
I would like to, before we do that, understand that we have, first of all, enumerate what the issues are with the current Montgomery County Board of Education system, and then I would like to see how a city school system plan to deal with that. Because if we take the same problems that they got with the Board of Education and simply just move the administration over without addressing the failing schools, then I don't think there's any reason to do that. We're just moving one, taking on their problem. I would like to see, along with that $150,000, is how do you intend to be different and better, and how are we gonna deal with that to be more efficient, save money, as well as how are we gonna take kids that can't read and pass an exam? What's our approach? If I don't clearly see that roadmap, then I really can't get behind it. Although I do think something needs to be done, and right now I'm with it, but I would also like to see, and I don't know if we did our statement of work yet, but I also, like to look at that contract so that they understand that part of the deliverable is that we need to have a roadmap to be better, more efficient, and to make sure that these kids are able to pass. Because just bringing them over to the city with no roadmap to make them,
But, Mr. Mayor, can I help
think it's a waste
answer
of time.
that?
Please.
On your behalf? Mr. Mayor, you make city employees come to work, don't you?
We do our best.
I think the first thing that if this council and the mayor were doing, Mr. Green, is we would make sure that the teachers are in the schools. When you have 626 absences from teachers in a half a year, that's unacceptable. And Mayor, I think if you had 626 absences from any division that we're here in the city, I don't think there'd be a lot of people come to work.
Right.
So, Mr. Green, there's a lot of things that can be done.
I agree with you 100%. I think that's correct. But also, I would like to see things like, tutoring. How's that going to be done efficiently? Those type of things that I would like to see. But I agree with you. The absentee is definitely a problem. But right now, as it stands now, we have no authority to even enforce that.
Mr.
Okay.
President, point of order.
Yes.
Y'all are in public hearing for
I
the
know what I'm
public.
fixing.
Well, and I'm
Y'all are
going,
discussing the
Go back to
budget. That
the
needs to
item.
wait till we get to item
Okay.
number 4.
Public hearing, people have signed up for public hearing on item 3, that's over. So I declare the public hearing. Did you sign up?
They don't have to sign up. It's a
Okay.
public hearing.
Public hearing, come forward, please.
Thank you. And thank you, Councilor Green. I agree with you wholeheartedly that we need to see a roadmap that's going to be something different from Montgomery Public Schools if we're going to do this $150,000. But I would like to mention to see if all of our memories are collectively working here. Gordon Stone, who is was the orchestrator part of it behind the Pike Road school system. I think if I'm correct, that was like a 10 to 12 year fruition from when they started with that plan to when Pike Road School opened, correct?
May not have been that long, but it was a while.
It was
9
long.
or 10 years.
It's been 9 or 10. And we are talking about this setting aside $150,000 for legal fees. And if we look at that projection of 10 years from now, that little girl will be out of school, public school, by that time. We're looking at a long range here, and we're looking at trying to put that's really a small amount in fees for something that we're going to do. And it's going to be that plan from Pike Road, because I was at AUM when they were working on it. It was long, it was complex, and we're talking about making a commitment to start a school system here where there are problems. But it's going to be a very complex system. And we're looking at teacher absences. That's one part of the problem, but you've got to get community involvement. And sure, you have to have the right people in place. And I'm not throwing stones here, but there's sometimes at the city you can call at certain hours of the day and there's nobody there either, even though they should be. But we look at these things as just one piece. Are we looking at the students and the parents as a piece of this puzzle that you're going to need to pull in? And that 150 for setting it up is just a small stone. And is that the other part of my question for this? Is that why you are making the proposed ordinance amending that budget because of that 150,000 in legal fees?
The budget itself is an amendment.
I'm sorry?
The budget itself is a total amendment to the original budget from last year. That's what it is. It's a carryover.
So this is just a part of it for that 150,000.
Well, the budget as proposed is amending the previous year budget.
And
but let me just share with you, the 150,000 is just but the beginning.
Right.
And we're not going to take 9 years to do that, but we have to see, number one, can we do it legally? How feasible it's going to be, and what it's going to cost. Until we get those answers, we can't get to the roadmap as how to make it happen. Because if we spent all the monies with the consultants to get the roadmap and we can't do it legally, we can't do it financially, and it's not a better system, then we ought not be doing that. So we got to take one step at a time.
And you know, the proposed now with the state intervention is just what, 3 months into even beginning that. Why don't we look at, why hasn't someone thought, why not give this intervention, which is coming from a lot of different people bringing this intervention, why are we setting aside that money? Maybe it could be used for something else, for Mr. Green's proposal that he had for something concerning the housing, but why not give this intervention? You need a year. We have to do time to review the implementation of people who have the degrees and experience to overhaul and do an intervention.
Let me try to make that very simple. You're absolutely correct. We're not going to interfere in the intervention. But when that intervention is deemed a success, whenever that is, 3 years, 5 years, whenever they deem it success, it's going to come back to a local authority. We want that local authority to be a city school system and not what we've had that got us into the issue. That's exactly what we're trying to do. We're not going to do this today. We're not going to do this tomorrow. We're going to be in a position to have a city school system if all the things that we are trying to get to work out. We will then have a city school system so that the state will get it back to an entity different from what they took it away from.
So you plan to really, so this is really, you plan to move it forward? Regardless to that, you want the city school system in place to be really starting to be in place when the intervention is over?
That's correct.
So you're not really totally dependent upon this intervention to be successful then?
The intervention hopefully will be successful. When it's successful, they're going to give it back to local authority. We want that local authority that receives it to be different from what took it away from. If the intervention, for whatever reason, isn't going well, doesn't happen, gets roadblocked, then we want to move as rapid as we can to create something different from what we've had. There are a lot of unanswered questions.
Mr. President, may I suggest that this is not...
Yeah, we talk about it all night.
This is really not the venue for a debate about the efficacy of the intervention or whether or not it's going to be successful and whether or not we ought to be expending $150,000. As I'm sure all of those arguments and those debates will be had. at the appropriate time, and they certainly should be. The questions as to whether or not a city school system would be appreciably better than what we already have, you know, whether or not we're operating from a premise that may be false as to whether the existing administration and Board of Education is not doing the adequate job that ought to be done and ought to be replaced by something else. I think that there will be adequate time to have this conversation, but it's probably not appropriate at this time.
But I think it's all coming back to the budget, which is our tax dollars. And
Yes.
and I was just following up with that.
Appreciate your
So
input.
we are looking for answers for how monies are being spent.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else speak on the budget?
I want to give you all something to think about.
Your name, please.
Camellia Hooks, retired teacher of the Montgomery Public School System, 25 years. I have 48 years of service in the system. Now, if you're going to set up a city school system, you need to think about, this is important. It's something for you to think about. Are you going to have, let's say you set up a city school system. Are you going to have a Board of Education to oversee that is elected? Because you know county system is elected. Are you going to nullify? I'm just asking questions.
Let me just answer a question to you. We don't know.
But I'm trying to get you to understand. I'm giving you information to help you to know.
But we don't know because it's all about a study to find out.
I'm trying to help you with your study.
Okay, well,
I have the expertise to help you with the study, and it won't cost you a dime.
Okay. All right.
When you set up your city school system, now, first of all, you got to separate yourself. You have county, city. Let's say you have two. Now you have to decide, are you going to have an elected board or an appointed board? County is going to stick with their elected board, that they're not going to nullify the vote of the citizens, of the parents and the voters who voted for them. Are you going to have the same thing where the parents will have a say-so? Then you're going to have to consider the separation of properties between county and city. Then you're going to have to separate, coming up with a curriculum, which is our State Department has a little difficulty right now because, first of all, the state of Alabama got us into this mess because of their modification when I was teaching that they sent down the pipeline because I served on some of those committees. That's where it started, from the state of Alabama. Let's put the blame where it is. Then we can work from there. Look out, like the parents said, look out for, you're talking about 10 years of Pike Road I followed because I was in the system. So what I'm trying to tell you, there are a lot of people like myself. Every day we retired, but we are out here working, can tell you more about the school system because we work from within and out, and I still do.
President,
and it won't cost you a dime.
Okay, thank you very much.
This is a public hearing on the budget, not school
Yeah,
system.
get off the school system. Let's just talk about the budget. If you're for that deal or not, that's all we need to say, because we're just talking about hiring a consultant, that's all.
Well, in order to keep me from getting all these phone calls when I go home, I would like for you to make it understood to us, the public, that the $150,000 is for the study
That's all.
of the need of the implementation of another school system put in place.
That's all.
My understanding was the reason why I've come before you before, and I asked you to make sure the Board of Education gave you a listing of how the money that you give them is used, so that we would know what we need to use it for. What the complaint in the community that I'm bringing to you is that there is money, but all of it is going to another school system, which is called the magnet school system. And none of it is going for the traditional school system. Go over to Lanier, you'll notice that the seats are torn up, the paint is falling off the wall, and so forth and so on. So let the public know that this money is going to be used for the study, for the need, for a city school system.
Thank you very much, Casey.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Anybody else? Yes.
Mr. President, maybe we can clarify something. The $150,000 as the mayor has proposed in the budget, that's a proposal. As a city council, we have the duty to approve that budget. Also, as a city council, 618 gives us authority to go in and strike out certain things. So let's not get in a hissy at this point right here about the $150,000. Sure, you should be concerned, but I think when you're assuming just because the mayor has said $150,000 that this council is going to approve that or not strike it out, and that we're going to spend $150,000. Now, it's a long ways from saying we're going to do a study. I'm not suggesting that Fred Bailey is going to vote for it, but all of a sudden we got a full-fledged school system, and I don't think that's what it's about. All due respect to you, I think if you're contesting the $150,000, I think that's legitimate. But if you come in talking about all we need for the school system, we're not even there yet. So I hope I help you out a little bit. If not, then I tried.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak on the budget? Okay. On the budget? Come back. You already spoke one time.
Yeah, you just want to take over and speak on everything, don't you? You have good ideas.
Thank you, and I'm a tax-paying citizen too. Just got through paying for a business license.
Me too.
Okay.
Okay, please.
On the proposed budget, up under the mayor and cabinet, and just from looking at it, it's a lot of titles, and I know that the state of Alabama, actually, you can look, I think up under one of those, Ask Me Something, where you can see the salaries of people for about 2 years. And there are a lot of titles up under here, like you look at, where can you actually, is there a place we can go in the city, and like the state of Alabama, and do that Ask Me, where you can find the actual salaries of people for the last 2 years?
There is an open meeting application that we're in the process of doing. I have approved the publication of all of the salaries, and it is in process and should be completed. Griff?
He's over there.
When will it be online?
Okay. And it would be an unopened document?
Yes, ma'am. We adopted this probably a year and a half ago and been working it. We've got a lot of things already online now, particularly in our public works, but finance will come, and that particular piece, you know, for me personally, I didn't much care the fact that all of our employees would have their salary published. Mine's published. I'm the 22nd highest paid person in the city of Montgomery. So there are 21 people who make more than I do. But we've come to the realization that citizens deserve that piece of information, and they will receive it.
Yeah, I know the state does it too. Okay, and that was related to the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. And we now have the budget, and we'll have a council work session on item number 4. Madam Clerk, you need to read anything there?
Item 4, ordinance amending fiscal year 2017 and adopting fiscal year 2018 operating and debt service budget.
On August the 30th at 4 o'clock in the council work session chamber, we will have a work session for the council on the budget.
Budget work session, yes, sir. And that item is carried over.
Okay. Carried over then.
Item 5, ordinance amending Chapter 16, Section 16-231, levied rates.
Okay, I have 2 people want to speak on that. KT?
Same thing. I would like for you to explain what it is that you're talking about.
Reality of it. This would raise the lodging tax by 1 penny, 1 cent.
1%.
Mindy Hanna.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to address the council this afternoon. I'm Mindy Hannon. I'm the president and CEO of the Alabama Restaurant and Hospitality Association. We're located here in Montgomery. I'm here today to discuss the proposed increase in the lodging tax. From a political perspective, lodging taxes may be easier to impose than other taxes because visitors that use lodging accommodations are generally not constituents. Typically, hotel operators collect these taxes from their guests. And while the legal incidence of the tax may fall on the consumer, the economic burden of the lodging tax is shared both by the hoteliers and their guests. The lodging market is very competitive, and in a competitive market, the tax burden is shared between the buyer and seller. A lodging tax raises the price of lodging accommodations. Simple economics. Depending on the elasticity of the supply and demand for lodging, the hotel manager may not be able to increase the rates by the amount of the tax. Since the elasticity of supply and demand changes depend on market conditions, the true burden of lodging tax varies as market conditions change. Montgomery, Alabama already ranks as one of the highest cities in the country with regard to lodging tax. We're currently at number 15 as a percentage of the hotel rate. Raising the tax by an additional 1% will bring Montgomery into the top 10 cities in the United States for lodging tax. It will bring us to number 7. I have a copy of the lodging tax survey done by Smith Travel Research and the American Hotel and Lodging Association. I'll be happy to share that with y'all.
When you get done, if you'll give it to the clerk.
Okay. Montgomery has made great strides in becoming a destination location for convention business. This additional tax will adversely affect the trend and put Montgomery at a competitive disadvantage with other similarly situated venues. Meeting planners have limited resources to spend on their events. Additional expense in the form of the lodging tax adds no value to the meeting. I'm afraid that Montgomery entering into the top 10 in lodging tax percentages that we may reach a point of diminishing returns. Additionally, those in the industry would like accountability and input as to where the lodging tax dollars are allocated. While our hoteliers are not opposed to all lodging taxes, their use and allocation is very important to the industry. Our hoteliers would love to have a seat at the table to discuss the issues that are important to the industry and how we can help move the city forward as a preferred destination. I would urge you to carry this issue over until those affected by it are given the opportunity to dialogue with our elected representatives as to the best process.
Wait a minute, Mr. President, let me ask you. When you came up, I think there was some miscommunication. Clarify me. I think it was said there was 1 cent.
It's 1%. 1%.
I thought
It changes it from
10%
to 11%.
From 10 to 11.
But then we also have a 4% state tax and a $2.25 county tax.
But that's not going to change. But let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
If I may, Mr. President. Say a room, you know, it's been a long time since I had a room. Say it's a room of $250. Is that what they're costing, 100?
I think you could find all rates around the city.
Well, let's take something.
Yes, sir. Do 100. 100's easy to work with.
Well, 200. You know, I can find. Get a 200 room. What would be the lodging tax on a $200 room now?
It's 17.1% is the average because the $2.25 is on the average daily rate. So it would be $34.20.
So we're looking at $234 now. If we add that 1%,
yes,
what
sir.
would we be looking at?
It would be, I guess, I don't have my calculator, but $236.20.
$236. And if I'm getting ready to go back to Omaha, I don't think I would make a difference whether I was paying $234 or $236.
Well, sir,
you're talking about the combined, but
yeah,
for the individual.
It's not the that the 1710 makes a difference between that and 1810, but you're competing against other cities throughout the country for convention business that might have, you know, a 10 or 12% tax. And that makes a difference in bringing convention business to the city.
We don't have a 12 now, do we?
No, sir, but you're competing with other cities.
So we have a 17 now?
We have 17.10 now.
So
total.
We don't have 1710. We have a 10%, and the state has 4%, and the county has $2.25.
Yes, sir. The total is 17.10.
But I'm trying to get in my mind, if you're saying that that's going to persuade someone, so there are some people who have 12% now.
Yes, sir.
We're not at 12% now, and it's still coming.
Right, but it just puts us at a further competitive disadvantage.
Okay.
But I'll provide you the information.
Give that to clerk, please.
Thank you.
Okay. Need a motion to suspend the rules? Okay. All in favor, raise your hand.
Who made the motion?
Yeah, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Carry it over. Carrying this over.
You want to carry it over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're carrying it over.
Consistency carried over.
Item 6, ordinance amending Chapter 18, Section 18-174, noise permits.
Okay. KT, you wanted to answer a question about this one?
Yes, you mentioned in the work session that you were dealing with an amendment to this. What is that amendment?
All we're doing is moving it from the city clerk's office to the mayor's,
From
Special events.
Special events.
special events.
city clerk to mayor.
No,
City-
special
city-
events.
Special events, special events.
Do we understand that? What they're doing on that item?
Not a big deal. Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rules. Council.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Fine.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 7, ordinance defining disrupted residential rental properties and requiring abatement of disrupted properties within the city limits.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Seven.
Carried over.
Rules aren't suspended.
Carried over. Okay. Next item.
Item 8, ordinance authorizing purchase sale agreement and sale of real estate owned by City of Montgomery on French Street.
Okay, need a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Mr.
Say
Green?
it, Ms. Green.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
Have motion to adopt. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. The ordinance is adopted. Item 9, ordinance authorizing purchase sale agreement and sale of real estate owned by City of Montgomery at 839 South Hope Street.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 10, ordinance authorizing purchase sale agreement and sale of real estate at 922 South Hope Street.
Move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 11, resolution directing mayor to execute easement to Alabama Power Company for the purpose of maintaining electricity at the Zoo Aquatic Park.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 12 has been withdrawn. Item 13 has been withdrawn. Item 14, application for special events retail liquor license, doing business as Montgomery Dragon Boat Festival at 320 Coosa Street.
Representative of the Dragon Boat. There you are.
Thank you for having us today, and
Thank
thank
you.
you again. I just want to say right off the bat, I appreciate the support from the city, Councilman Lee. I'm happy to report that this year we were able to find, between the City Council, the County Commission, and local businesses, we were able to fund 7 teams from Maxwell Air Force Base to participate in the Dragon Boat Festival this year. That's on top of the 5 that we'll be getting from Air University, as well as we're able to get local sponsors for a couple of high schools this year, so we really want to thank you for your support in that.
Your name for the record?
Andrew Szymanski.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. Brought before the council. Need a motion?
Move to suspend the rules.
Have a motion to suspend rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Thank you,
Good luck with the
councilors.
Item 15, application for a retail beer and retail table wine owner off premises, doing business as Tomatino's at 503 Cloverdale Road.
Your name for the record?
Missy Mercer.
Okay, Missy. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council.
Mr. President, I had a question. If I don't suspend the rules, does that mean they have to stay where they are and not leave my district? That's what I'm curious about.
The mayor said he liked us to move.
I want you to stay where you are, though.
Okay, I need to suspend the rules. You got them?
I move to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
And welcome to District 3.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Missy, when are you going to actually be
Okay.
able to open?
I need a motion to adopt.
Somebody just asked me.
Need a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Now, the mayor's got a question about when you're going to move.
When are you going to be able to open?
We're hoping by September 15th, but we don't know. We've got a lot done right now, but
You're gonna do Louisa's as well?
yes, sir.
Good.
The bakery and everything will be there.
You have a lot more parking.
Yes, sir. I don't know about that.
Okay, thank you. Good luck with the new business.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Item 16, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 350 Azalea Drive.
Need a motion to uphold?
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 17, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 125 Bitford Way.
Need a motion to uphold?
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 18, authorization of demolition of an unsafe structure at 4108 South Court Street.
Move to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 19, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion?
Suspend the
Motion to
rules.
suspend the rules, man. Motion to
Move to
suspend
Suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted. Item 20, resolution declaring public nuisances, authorizing abatement and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Motion.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor,
Unanimous.
raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay. Representative of Jimmy McPhillips to speak to us on the museum.
Obviously not Julia McPhillips, but I'm Sarah Powell, the Executive Director of the Fitzgerald Museum. I provided all of you with our report just in terms of what we would like to do moving forward and ask that you add us as a line item to your budget for FY 2018. Specifically, we would like to request your blessing to move forward on the Airbnb for the upstairs property. We have a vacant 2-bedroom apartment. We have stopped actively renting the property with the intention of using the nonprofit as an active space and a community space. This would be kind of the first step in a long range of plans. We are currently working on resolving the city agreement with the city attorney so that we are not operating outside of our purview. I'd like to just add that we, on a daily basis, we average 200 visitors a month. In the last 6 months, we've done nearly 1,500 visitors. Digitally, we represent 185 countries. I'm also on the board of the International Fitzgerald Society, which represents over 14 countries, and this is an interest to bring these people here and to present them to the city of Montgomery, as people are very interested in the Fitzgerald Museum. I know to some it is referred to as a pet project, but I assure you that it is very much a passion of mine, and one of the reasons that I came on as director was because of the personal love that I have for the museum. If you step outside of Montgomery, you would see that we have international draw. We have people that come from Australia, Japan, specifically just to come to this museum, and everything within Montgomery, in spite of our victories in the Civil War and the civil rights side of our history, we have a timeline that is covered in between that is not necessarily represented. So we are kind of unique in that fact.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have two people. Madam Clerk, you got anything else?
No, sir, nothing else.
Okay. In our public communication roster of non-agenda item, Sandra Edwards is here. Sandra Edwards.